A very warm welcome to Apsc bro. Today we are going to do a very important topic which is Uniform Civil Code. This topic is very much in news. Everyone is talking about it. Some are saying we need Uniform Civil Code. Someone is saying we don't need it. So the first thing that will come to your mind is what is Uniform Civil Code? Yes, what is it all about? What do you mean by it? See, now if there is a person who is doing stealing, okay, he has stole something and that's why he is a thief. Now that person, irrespective of his religion or caste or tribe, he will be treated likewise. Okay, a Muslim thief will be also subjected to the same law and will have the same punishment as a Hindu thief, right? So if you see that, we have uniform criminal code in India. That means if you are doing any crime, you will be treated equal in front of law, and the same law will be applicable to everyone irrespective of his origin, right? But this is not the same for the civil cases. Let it be marriage or inheritance or any other custom. A Muslim person can marry more than one wife, whereas a Hindu person cannot do that. So you see, there's non-uniformity in case of civil cases. Okay, that is why the thing is coming up that we need to have a uniform civil code. That means a uniform law that will be applicable to every person irrespective of his religion or caste or um, tribe. Okay, now that we have got an idea what is uniform civil code. Now next big question, does India need to have a uniform civil code? Just like we have the uniform criminal code, does India need a uniform civil code? Is there is a necessity? Now some people will say it is very important, we need to have it. Okay, some are saying no, we cannot have it, it will create a lot of problems. So there are a lot of questions in that. Now suppose we assume okay, we need to have a uniform civil code. The next big question that will come to our mind is, how is it possible to have a uniform civil code in India? Is it at all possible? And even if it is possible, how difficult it will be to achieve that? So there's a lot of questions that are there currently in the minds of every citizen of India. Now, if you see the papers, the newspaper, the news channels are full of debates on this issue. The minority people are saying this is just an attempt of the majority to subdue them. There are some people are saying this is very important for the national integrity and maintaining the gender justice. Okay, some are referring to the directive principles that we need to have this uniform civil code. Some are saying that it will be very difficult to have it. So there are a lot of views which are floating around in the news circle. Now, before going into details, just like we have discussed what is uniform civil code, you see it resonates with one country, one rule. That means if we're having in one country, India, we need to have the same rule for every citizen of India, which will be applicable to all religious communities. Okay. Now, if you see, the Uniform Civil Code is mentioned in Part 4 and Article 44, that is, it is a part of the directive principles of state policy. According to this, the state shall endeavor to ensure for the citizens a uniform civil code throughout the territory of India. It is saying that the state has to aim to have a uniform civil code. But as we know, directive principles of state policy are not uh, legally binding on anyone, neither on the citizens nor on the government. So it is just a suggestion in the constitution that you have to try to foster an idea of uniform civil code, but which is not yet binding on the government to do so. Okay. Now see, why is it so much in news? Why is it so difficult for a country like India to have a uniform civil code? Okay. First thing, India is a diverse land. It has around 645 distinct tribes, 705 different recognized, distinctly officially recognized ethnic groups who have their own culture. Now if you see at Meghalaya, you will have matrilineal societies. If you see the Nayars of Kerala, you'll have their own societal beliefs and marital functions. So you'll see every distinct tribes of India have their own culture and their own laws to regulate the people. Hence, to bring all these laws into one frame will be very difficult. Now, to convince all these different people to follow one rule will be also difficult. Now it will be difficult for a tribe from Nagaland to forsake all his previous customs and beliefs and move into a new regime of laws. So it will be difficult, right? If not possible, it will be difficult, yes. India is home to around 398 languages in total, out of which 387 are living languages, that means they are still practiced, and 11 are extinct languages. India is also home to a diverse range of religious beliefs like Hinduism, Islam, Christianity, Sikhism, Buddhism. So we have both linguistic as well as religious diversity, and hence it will be very difficult for us to first understand all the laws that are governing different groups of people, and then to bring them all in one hand. Okay. So by now you have understood what is Uniform Civil Code and why is it so difficult for a country like India to have one. Now the second question, the biggest question is, does India want it? Like, do you want a Uniform Civil Code? Okay, there are two groups of people. One group say that the Uniform Civil Code is very important, first to ensure national integration, because one country, one law, and this will bring the whole country into one frame. So it will be important to bring in the national integration and unity through Uniform Civil Code. That is one perception. Second perception is that, see, if you see, most of the religious laws or other some laws are gender biased. Like they say ki a Muslim man can marry more than one woman, right? The daughters won't inherit the property of the father or mother, right? So there are certain laws which are gender biased. They say through Uniform Civil Code we can ensure the rights to the women community, and hence will be a step towards gender justice. Now there are some certain other people who are saying ki no, this, if you bring the Uniform Civil Code, this will be a big blow to the religious freedom. Okay, the constitution says that every religion has the right to profess and practice his own religion, and hence if you bring Uniform Civil Code, this will hamper the religious freedom and diversity of the country. So we have a diverse custom where we have diverse rules and laws through which the people are governed. If we bring a Uniform Civil Code, this diversity will be endangered. Now if you see, if it is such an important thing, Uniform Civil Code, and it is something which is, people has been discussing so much, was there any attempt in the past to achieve it? First, let us go back to the British rule. During the British rule, there was a Lex Loci report in 1840. Now, this was an attempt for codification of Indian law, because when they were during 1840, there was no uniform law as such. Now, like we have the Uniform Criminal Code, there was no such code at that time. So there was an attempt for codification of the Indian law for the crimes to be committed and other things, right? So, but this report, they recommended that the personal laws of Hindus and the Muslims should be kept outside this codification. So the British at that time said they no, will not interfere into the religious practices and the civil laws that are being followed in the country. We are only going to codify the criminal laws. Okay. In 1859, there was a Queen's Proclamation in which they again said that there will be non-interference in any religious matter. This was done to appease the common public of India, that we are not going to interfere into your customs, because if a foreign rule is going to imply some laws on me as an Indian citizen, I'll say no, they are trying to take our culture, they are trying to put in Western thoughts into us, they are going to trying us to forget our culture, our rich heritage. So they say that no, we are not going to do anything like that, we are not going to interfere in your religious beliefs. Okay. So there are a lot of other rules like that. There was a B.N. Rao committee in 1941 in which there was an attempt to codify the Hindu law. Now the Hindu Law Committee was made to question the necessity of codification of Hindu laws. The committee recommended that if we codify the Hindu law, it would give equal rights to the woman. Okay, so the 1937 Act was reviewed and the committee recommended a civil code of marriage and succession for Hindus. Based on this, there was a Hindu code bill which we'll be discussing in the further slides. But before that, let us see it, because it is such an important topic. What were the views of the people who were involved in the Constituent Assembly? Now, such an important topic like codification of civil laws, what was the thoughts that were going on in the minds of the people who were actually involved in the framing of the constitution? Okay, if you see Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, he was heading the subcommittee on fundamental rights. He said that securing a uniform civil code was not within the scope of fundamental rights, so he was not trying to, he didn't make any attempt to do so. Naziruddin Ahmed from Bengal, he said that the UCC would fall in the way of Article 19, which is now Article 25, that is religious freedom. Okay, he said that no, we don't need UCC because it will fall, it will be on the way of the religious freedom article. K.M. Munshi, he was a member of Constituent Assembly, he said that UCC is good and it will promote the unity as well as equality for women. Okay. B.R. Ambedkar, he said that the Article 44 in which we are commenting on UCC is just a endeavor. It is a proposal that the state shall endeavor to secure a UCC, but it does not mean that it will impose a uniform civil code on the people. Okay. Now, as I have said that there was a codification of Hindu laws, and based on this, B.R. Ambedkar, he tried to reform Hindu laws. Like he tried to legalize divorce. Okay, but if someone is not happy with their marriage, they can file a divorce and go out. He said that polygamy cannot be followed. He also proposed that the rights of inheritance may be given to daughters also. But this faced very intense opposition from all around the country. The Hindus, they said that no, this cannot be done. We have our own laws and other things, so this cannot be passed. So what the government did, that it followed a diluted version. The entire Hindu code bill was divided into 4 parts. Now what were those 4 parts? Succession Act, Hindu Marriage Act, Minority and Guardianship Act, and Adoption and Maintenance Act. As per the Succession Act of 1956, it first thought of giving inheritance to the daughters, but now because there was a lot of protest among the people, so they said that no, the daughters cannot be given the right to inheritance. But this disparity was removed by an amendment to the act in 2005. Now daughters can also inherit the property of her parents. Whenever there will be a uniform civil code, the responsibility of ensuring its implementation will be on the judiciary. Just like now we have the uniform criminal code. Now suppose there is a person who violates it. So it will be the judiciary who will be implementing the uniform criminal code and will be punishing the person for that violation. So whenever there will be a civil code, uniform civil code, it will be the primary responsibility of the judiciary to ensure its implementation. Now there will be a question whether the judiciary have ever tried or ever implemented anything that is towards the path of uniform civil code. Now the answer is yes. Whenever the judiciary is taking any step or any judgment against a particular religious law and have tried to ensure justice to the victim, it is a step towards the uniform civil code. Now for this, one of the prime example is the Sahib Banu Begum case. Now what happened was that Sahib Banu Begum, she got divorced from her husband, and in this case the Supreme Court upheld the right of a Muslim woman to claim maintenance from her husband under section 125 of the Criminal Procedure Code. Under section 125 of the Criminal Procedure Code, it is the duty of the husband to ensure the maintenance of the wife whom he have divorced, unless and until that wife has her own way of sustenance or livelihood, right? However, this rule does not apply to Muslim women. Okay, as per the Muslim law, the husband is only responsible towards his divorced wife till the iddat period. Okay. Now, as per the Sahib Banu case, during the Sahib Banu case, the Supreme Court said that the Muslim woman also had the right to claim the maintenance from the husband. Okay. It also observed that a uniform civil code would help in removing the contradiction based on ideology. So this was the judgment of the Sabanu case. This was a step towards uniform civil code. However, under Muslim personal law, the maintenance was to be paid only till the period of iddat, that is 3 lunar months or roughly 90 days. Okay. However, section 125 of CRPC, Criminal Procedure Code, that applied to all citizens provided for maintenance of the wife. However, this did not apply to Muslim women. So you see, this was the historic judgment. Supreme Court said that no, it should not be as per the Muslim law, it should be as per CRPC 125 section, and the husband should pay for the maintenance of the wife. However, after the historic decision, there was a nationwide discussion, meetings and agitations. Under the public pressure, the government passed the Muslim Women's Right to Protection on Divorce Act MWA. So Muslim Women's Act in 1986, under which this section 125 of the CRPC was inapplicable to Muslim law. So under this act, it said that no, if the woman is Muslim, then the CRPC 125 won't be applicable to her. She will be applicable under Muslim law, and she can only claim maintenance till the iddat period. So it was a setback to the judgment. Now, after this, there was a Daniel Latifi case. Daniel Latifi was the lawyer of Sabanu. So once you see the judgment was made in favor of Sabanu, it said that no, the husband should pay for her maintenance. Then the government, under public pressure, had to pass a law under which this judgments were nullified. So Daniel Latifi, who was the lawyer of Sabanu, what he did, he again placed the case to the court, in which the Muslim Women's Act was challenged. What was Muslim Women's Act? It said that the CRPC 125 won't be applicable to Muslim women, and it will be only Muslim women will only come under the Muslim law. So Daniel Latifi challenged that law. He said that this law violated the right to equality under Article 14 and 15, as well as the right to life under Article 21. So what was the outcome of this lawsuit? The Supreme Court, while holding the law as constitutional, harmonized it with Section 125 of CRPC. Now the Supreme Court played a very nice trick. What it said that, okay, both are correct in their places, but even if it is under Muslim law, as per Muslim law, the wife is to be paid for the maintenance till the iddat period, right? So the Supreme Court said that we won't interfere in that, but if the husband has to pay only in the iddat period, he has to pay so much that it ensures that the future of the woman is secure. That means the husband has to pay the amount which will secure the future of the wife. So in this way, the Supreme Court played a very good trick and tried to nullify both the act as well as Muslim law, and as well as ensure justice to a Muslim woman. Okay. Thus, the law of the land, a divorced woman is entitled to the provision of maintenance for a lifetime or until she is remarried. Okay. So this was a historic outcome. There are many other cases like the Sarla Mudgel case versus Union of India, in which the Supreme Court held that a Hindu husband cannot convert to Islam and marry another woman without dissolving the first marriage. Now we know that under Muslim law, polygamy is allowed, whereas it is not allowed for a Hindu man. So there were many cases in which a Hindu person used to convert to Islam in order to marry another woman. So the Supreme Court said that this is not done and this cannot be practiced. During this judgment, it also stated that a uniform civil code would prevent such fraudulent conversions and bigamous marriages. So in both these cases, Sahbanu case as well as Sarla Mudgal case, Supreme Court has professed or have tried to promote the concept of uniform civil code. There was another historic case in which Saira Banu and Union of India. During this, the Supreme Court declared that the practice of triple talaq is unconstitutional and violative of dignity and equality of Muslim women. So the Supreme Court nullified and said that triple talaq cannot be practiced in a country like India, which ensures women justice and equal rights to women. So this was a historic moment. It also recommended that Parliament should enact a law to regulate Muslim marriages and divorce. So in all these cases, you see, the Supreme Court is trying to promote a concept of uniform civil code and ensure female justice, right, or equality, gender equality. So the implementation of the Uniform Civil Code is after a law and order situation, right? So the view of the Law Commission is very important. However, the Law Commission in 2018 was a little bit skeptical about the concept of Uniform Civil Code. It said that the Uniform Civil Code is neither necessary nor possible at this stage. Okay, the reason it cited was that in a country like India, which have it has to have separate laws to fulfill the needs of all its people and bring uniformity. So it said that because India is a diverse country, it is not possible to have a uniform civil code. The constitution itself has given so many exemptions, so many people like a tribals. So these exceptions, even in civil procedural code or criminal procedural code, there are a lot of exceptions. So if there are a lot of exceptions in a code, it will no longer be uniform. When I say uniform, it is uniform throughout. There cannot be any prospect of exceptions. But in India, when we have different tribes and different customs, different cultures and religion, it is not possible to have a uniform civil code without exceptions. And if there is an exception, it cannot be uniform. This was the view of the Law Commission. Okay. Now you see, we have discussed what is the UCC, what are the views. Now you have to understand what are the challenges in implementing the UCC. First thing, diverse personal laws and customary practice. Now we have discussed lot of tribes, lot of religions, lot of ethnic groups. So you have diverse laws. So it is not very easy to bring them all under one umbrella. There will be always resistance from religious and minority groups. The minority groups will always be skeptical that the UCC is an attempt of the majority to subdue their rights. Okay. Lack of political will and consensus. We have so many parties which are political parties which are based on religious or ethnic lines. Okay. So these political parties will never be they will never welcome the idea of uniform civil code. Okay, so there will be a problem in that. Practical difficulties and complexities. As we know, it's a diverse country, vast country. We have so many diversity. So it will practically, when you are going to implement the UCC, it will lot of difficulties will be there. Plus, we as Indians are always proud of our diversity. We are always proud that we have multicultural concept in this state, in the country. Okay, so if we bring a uniform civil code, this will be a threat to the multiculturalism idea that is prevalent in India. However, if we somehow and we can implement the UCC, there will be certain benefits. What are the benefits? It will ensure national integration and secularism. Okay, it will ensure that all the citizens of India are purviewed under the same lens. They are not divided in the religious line because they follow the same civil code which has been prescribed for the whole nation. Okay, this will also ensure gender justice and equality. There are a lot of religious rules which usually favor male domination. So UCC will ensure that the women folk of the country also enjoys equal justice and equality. Now see, if we have all different laws to regulate different kinds of people, it will be difficult for the implementation of the law and order by the legal system. So if we have one uniform code, it will be easy for the legal system to implement the same. Okay. Second thing, modernization and reform of outdated and regressive practices. Most of the religious rules are based on the what has been customary, what has been going on for a long period of time from the past. So these are certain outdated concepts are there, because of which there is gender inequality. So it is said that if we have a uniform civil code which will be based on scientific and modern ideas, it will help us discard the old and outdated practices. Second, unjust It will help in ending unjust custom and traditions. Certain customs like, you know, like we had in the previous time, sati pratha and other things. The Uniform Civil Code will help us to regulate all such kind of unjust and, you know, unfair means or traditions which are harmful to the society. Okay. So we have discussed all the benefits as well as difficulties in implementation of UCC. But however, if a country like India happens to have a uniform civil code, it's a big question ki if we manage to somehow, it will be very difficult, but if we somehow manage to formulate a uniform civil code, how can it be implemented? First thing, the whole concept should be very progressive and broad-minded, so that it can encourage the young people of India to welcome it with open arms. First thing. Second thing, the Uniform Civil Code should be drafted keeping in mind the best interest of all religions. The Uniform Civil Code should not be in the favor of one particular group. It should be to ensure or keep in mind the best interest of all religions that are existent in the country. Okay. Second thing, a committee of eminent jurists should be constituted. So if you are formulating the Uniform Civil Code, it should not be from handful of people. A particular specialist committee should be established, mainly preferably with from jurists, because it's a law and order situation, and which will involve judiciary throughout its implementation. So a committee of eminent jurists should be formed. To maintain uniformity, and care must be taken not to hurt the sentiments of any particular community. Last, the matter being sensitive in nature, it is always better if the initiative comes from the religious groups concerned. So it should not be the top, political power is making the law and forcing it on the people. It should be the other way around. The religious groups, the common people have to suggest, we need these laws, make it this law. So it should be the other way around. It should be a democratic way of doing it. The religious groups or other ethnic groups has to come together and try to impose, enforce the Uniform Civil Code. It should not be the other way around. The top management or top political power is making the law and imposing it forcefully on the people. It should come out from the heart of the people, and they should realize that Uniform Civil Code is important and we need to implement it, and it should come from their side, the suggestions and the ways of implementing it. So in this video I have discussed in details what is Uniform Civil Code, what are the historical perspectives of this Uniform Civil Code, what are the pros and cons, what the judiciary has to say about it, what the law commission has to say about it, what are the challenges that we can face, how we can actually implement it if we want to implement it. So we have discussed it in details. It is up to you as a reader, as a viewer, as a citizen of India to understand if we really need a UCC or not. It is upon your judgment. Make the best of your judgment and try to understand what are the difficulties and what are the opportunities in it. Okay. Thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe our channel. Help us to help you better. Thank you so much.